Hey everybody, Nick here from Brothers and Sisters Films in my kitchen in Kenmore, New York, and let's make some lunch. Today's reading seems to revolve around ideas of death. And it got me thinking about this very similar idea that I'm very fascinated with called little deaths. You know, throughout our lives, we go through lots of little deaths before our big death, where we go and return to God. Now, like when you're a kid, you know, you lose all your baby teeth, and that's kind of like a little death. You know, or you quit your job or get fired from a job, and that really is like a little death. It changes a lot of your life. Or, you know, you go through some really tough times or traumatic times. There's this little bits of us that get lost in those experiences. My favorite image in the reading is Mary anointing Jesus' feet. Not only is it a beautiful thing, it's kind of like Mary's preparing Jesus for his inevitable death and crucifixion. And just like Mary, I think if we prepare just a little bit, these little deaths in our lives can actually be used to our advantage. It's kind of like cooking. See, I have my ingredients here, and I prepare them to be cooked in a nice hot pan. And then once they're all ready, I move them over into the pan and we start cooking. The food gets hot, it sizzles, and it changes. And what it used to be dies in a way. But then we don't just throw away this food because it's not what it was. No, we eat the food, and it gives us nourishment and new life. I feel like through these little deaths and rebirths, these little deaths and resurrections in our lives, we change and grow and transform into more loving and compassionate people. You know, these little deaths in our lives aren't necessarily comfortable. You know, when we cook the food, that pan is hot. You know, it's probably not comfortable in there, but it transforms us and changes us and lets all the stuff we don't need fall away, so we end up with new life, with resurrection, with something real in our lives. With a little bit of preparation and intention, I feel like we can change these little deaths that are not really so awesome sometimes into things that nourish us and provide fullness in our lives. You know, there's no avoiding the heat of the pan. You know, like sometimes transformation takes a little bit of oomph, but if we remember the promise that Jesus gives us, that there is new life after death, there is a resurrection coming, it completely changes this experience of being a human. And these little deaths turn into things that help us become more loving, compassionate people in our communities. So have a good week, everybody, and let's remember that promise Jesus brings us. New life is always coming.